The video that you're about to watch is a high-value training that I put together for you, containing all of the information that I've gathered with roughly 15 years of my experience in the fitness community. So this is literally going to be my best stuff, the exact things that I used, the exact techniques and how-tos that I use in order to get all the results that I have and that I have enjoyed for a great amount of time. So this, like I said, this is my best stuff. While you go through the video, you're going to see a lot of things that are going to contradict what you already think and believe and have been taught in the medical, fitness, diet, and health community. And what I want you to do is re-examine the beliefs that you already have. Whenever you examine the beliefs that you already have and what you've been taught, and you find the way these things started, what you're going to find is that there are a lot of if-then correlations. For example, a man puts on a hat and then he walks across the street and gets hit by a car. Obviously, putting on a hat causes you to get hit by a car. No, it doesn't. That's an if-then correlation. There's a lot of logical fallacies that go into the thought process of a lot of things that get taught out there, including in the diet and health community. There's also people that will exclude entire categories of items, and so they'll say, if you remove animal products from your diet, you'll get healthier. However, they're including both dairy and meat in animal products category. You have to remove the dairy from the meat. Is it the meat itself or the way that you're cooking it? These sorts of things. Whenever you start going deeper into the category, deeper into the way that these things work, then you're going to find a significant difference. And I'm going to get into the difference between a biochemist telling you exactly what chemical processes do and a nutritionist that will just tell you correlations and mathematically decide whether or not one thing is good for you or not. Does it have this amount of nutrients? Can I put it on a chart? Does this have less nutrients? Well, then this is healthy, sort of thing. And science is slowly catching up to the fact that mathematical calculations are not the full picture in terms of human beings that live and breathe and walk among us. So, like I said, this is my absolute best stuff. In fact, I consider it the best stuff in the fitness community. Remember, I've been trying to do this for about 15 years now. So I consider it the best stuff in the fitness community, and my goal is to get this information out to 1 million people. Just the information. I want to spread this information out to 15 million people. If you don't know what all the logical fallacies are, you can open up a new window at the top of your page and or a new tab or whatever and look up the logical fallacies real quick and start examining the beliefs that you already have, start examining the information that you've already gotten regarding the medical community to see whether or not it stacks up over the references and experts that I'm going to be referencing within this high-value training that I've put together. I hope you enjoy the high-value training. I hope that you are able to share it. I hope that you want to share it with all your friends and family and stuff and get the information out there. I hope this is enough for you so that you can really take this information and kind of turn it into something that's going to be good for the world in general and good for you in particular. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you get a lot out of it. Thanks so much. Enjoy.
Hello, my name is Matthew Motley. I'm a 4-year veteran of the United States Navy. That's a picture of me on the left, or sorry, on the right. I grew out that glorious mustache just for the that particular exercise. I look way different now because I'm old now. But You may have seen a slide there talking about how you can verify my military service. I do that, if not just for the Stolen Valor Act, also for Don Shipley, who you may know from his YouTube channel Buds131. He makes a regular habit of verifying people's military service, whether or not they were SEALs, that sort of thing, whether or not what they did in the military. And I wouldn't want to incur the ire of him. I was just a master at arms. I was never in special forces or anything of the sort. But also, there's a lot of charities that claim to be for veterans, and they don't give a dime to the veterans that they claim to want to help. And there's even more charities that give less than 1 cent per every dollar to the veterans that they claim to want to help. If you are viewing this on YouTube, you can click down the link in the description to bring you to my GoFundMe page. I chose GoFundMe out of all the crowdfunding platforms. I know there's other more popular crowdfunding platforms out there, but I actually read on a review site that out of all the crowdfunding platforms, this is really the best one, so I chose it. There are veteran crowdfunding websites, but one of them is still getting its nonprofits license, and another one is for franchises, which I don't want to do a franchise, so there you go. It's been, GoFundMe has been very good to me. I set up this website in less than 10 minutes, so it's a lot of good stuff. I had to turn to crowdfunding, even though I have access to organizations like SCORE and the Small Business Administration. They really couldn't help me out in the manner that I needed them to for the business that I'm trying to create. So what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to start a brand new type of fitness business, but that's not important. What should be important is what is in it for you. That's the question you should be asking. What's in it for me? Well, you could lose up to 1 pound of body weight per day, lose up to 1% body fat per week, gain muscle no matter how much of a hard gainer you are, and keep your results for life. These results are my results. They're not typical results, but I'm not the most special person in the galaxy, so obviously if I did it, somebody else can do it too. Not necessarily you, but other people can do it too. If you just turn off all your distractions, your cell phone, all the things that you got going on right now, and really pay attention to this video, I can give you the exact same techniques that I used to accomplish these results. All the results that you see on your screen right now. I've redesigned my whole video to become a high-value training. So I'm hoping that I can give you high amounts of value in a very short length of time. So here we go. This is the why video. Evan Pagan taught me about different people's learning styles, which are why, what, how, and what if. And that's just the question that you ask whenever information comes your way. You ask either why, what, how, or what if. I'm a what style learner, so it's very hard for me to reorganize everything the way that I think. And so I'm doing the why video first. Why is a new fitness product needed? I mean, honestly, the fitness industry is saturated with fitness products. Why would my thing be something that's needed? And why I'm doing this specifically, it's just going to answer all the why questions. The second video, which is all smushed together, so it'll be one big long video. And it won't be a very long video, definitely not as long as the videos that I've done before, but the second video is going to be the what video, and I'll also take care of how and what if, because I can't make full videos out of those questions. Since this whole thing is one video, that means the warnings at the beginning of this video apply to this entire thing, so just keeping that in mind. Here's some questions you should be asking. How do you know that your new diet or exercise program will work for you? If you answer that question honestly, you'll find that there is no way for you to know whether or not your diet or exercise program will work for you. It's 2013, and we don't even know whether or not the thing that we're buying right now is going to work whenever we get it home. That is a big problem. Have you lost weight or gained muscle? Chances are you've lost weight on some program. You've gained muscle way back whenever you were doing sports. But why didn't your results last? Maybe your results did last and you're just evaluating this potential product for one of your friends, but congratulations if your results did last. But if they didn't last, maybe you were in the wrong program or you couldn't stick to it. But chances are you just weren't doing all of the right things. These things will take care of themselves if you do all of the right things. And we'll get into what all of the right things are whenever we go through this training. See, it's never just one thing. There are people out there who have succeeded. The question is, what are they doing that you are not doing? You know, best way to succeed is do what they do. So you don't need another gizmo or gadget. In fact, thinking that there is only one solution out there and nobody's thought of it yet is an incredibly immature thought. I think that you know that you don't need a gizmo or gadget at this point in time, but you keep up that hope that one day they'll come up with that magic pill that you take and then you lose all the weight and you keep it off forever. See, it's never ever just one thing that's a game changer for people. It's a whole bunch of factors combined that gives these successful people the success that they have. You know, it's never just one diet pill. It's never just one exercise thing. It's never just, one diet in general. It's never just one thing. It's always this big combination of different factors that gives successful people the success that they have. So who am I to be talking to you like this? Who am I to be teaching you anything whatsoever? Well, that's a picture of me in my dress blues outside of the military. After boot camp, I was just so happy to be out of boot camp. I'm an old U.S. Navy veteran. I've been studying this for about 10, 15 years now, give or take. The military is the ultimate test of your diet and exercise regime. Could you stick to your diet when the only food available is not in your diet plan? Could you stick to your exercise routine when you work 16 hours a day? See, vacations will ruin your diet and exercise routine unless you're doing all of the right things. So, if whenever I was in Korea, I was on a diet that required me to eat several square meals every day, and they don't eat square meals over there. And it's not like I had a full kitchen in the little place that they stuck me to sleep in. So there was not a lot of options. I remember I spent an entire week over at a place where my dinner every night had to be ordered and delivered to me, and there was like nobody delivered. I could only eat, like pizza or something like that, something that was delivered. So it gets very crazy very quickly. And that's really the litmus test. It's all fun and games whenever you're staying in your own house. You get all your, you eat the same things every day, or you get all your food made for you or whatever. That's all fun and games until you go out in the real world and suddenly you're halfway across the world trying to stick to what you did at home. So enter Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. In it, Napoleon interviews the richest people on earth to find out what they all have in common that can be developed with practice. So he ignored certain things like what race they were and whether or not they were born in a rich household, because that information isn't useful to anybody. If every rich person on earth is born into a rich household, then if you're not in a rich household, then you can just say, well, screw it, I'm never going to be rich. See, it's not, that information isn't useful. What's useful is what can be developed with practice. Now, the reason that he didn't just go up to a rich person and say, how'd you get rich, is because, say, for example, you have a rich neighbor. So you go over to your neighbor and you say, hey, rich neighbor, how'd you get so rich? And they say, well, I was digging in my backyard, dug up a pirate's treasure chest, and I sold all the treasure, that's why I'm rich. Do you think you're going to have a very high chance of digging in your backyard and finding a pirate's treasure chest and then be rich because of it? Chances are not really. And the same thing goes with everything. There's about a 4 times greater chance of you getting struck by lightning and 4 times in the same day, than actually winning the lottery. It's very hard whenever you get down to it. And lots of people that win the lottery don't keep their wealth around. A lot of times they lose it within the span of a year, and they end up poorer than they are before. So no one did what Napoleon Hill did for the exercise and diet community until I came to save the day. That picture was taken after during a Halloween party in South Korea. My coworker just went over and ripped open the front of my uniform to reveal more of my glorious chest hair. It's a crazy night. But like I said, with Napoleon Hill, I know a lot of people that have read Think and Grow Rich, a lot of rich people, and nowadays it's pretty much required reading to become wealthy because these are all the things that all the successful people do. There's two main points I'm going to be covering inside this training, just this video and this part of the training, is the problem with the scientific health and fitness community and how to go about it the correct way. I mean, right now you may be saying to yourself that we already know how to lose weight, right? We already know how to lose weight. You just go on a 500 calorie deficit, burn 500 more calories a day, or eat 500 calories less a day. And since a pound of fat consists of 3,500 calories, you'll lose a pound a week. It's as simple as that. The only problem is nobody is doing it. Well, actually, the problem is that model does not work the vast majority of the time. And I'll get into the reference for that and everything. And I'll also get into why I'm doing this specifically. That's the part that you get to skip. If you don't give a crap about me, then you should be able to skip that part. And I'll put a little annotation inside the YouTube video so that you can see where to skip ahead to skip the whole part about why I'm doing this specifically. So at this point in time, the scientific health and fitness community, doctors would tell you to eat via the food guide pyramid or the U.S. government's new My Plate system. That's here in the USA where this is being filmed. If you wind up with diabetes, they then tell you to stop eating that way and start eating via the glycemic index scale. If you get celiac, they then finally tell you to stop eating gluten as well, or you could just eat right in the first place. Your choice. A lot of people also get irritable bowel syndrome during this process, and I'll show you why. See, I learned a lot of this stuff from Tom Naughton's documentary, Fathead. I actually had to go track down all of his references and everything to find out that what he was saying inside that documentary is true. You can watch this documentary on Netflix. It's actually a pretty entertaining documentary. It's a follow-up to Morgan Spurlock's movie Super Size Me. What Tom Naughton did was he went to and ate nothing but fast food for 30 days and ended up losing weight just to prove that it isn't the fast food that is the problem. So, just getting that out of the way. If you don't want to buy Netflix and spend a whole $8 a month, like that's going to break the bank, then go ahead and just order Netflix and watch Tom Naughton's Fathead during the free trial and then cancel afterwards. Doesn't matter, but I'm going to say that Netflix is a pretty good service. I use it a lot. Inside Tom Naughton's Fathead, they talk about the scientific study where the 500 calorie deficit was proven to be an inaccurate thing. It almost never works the way that it says it's going to work. All of the grains that the government wants you to eat the most of are above table sugar on the glycemic index scale. Remember, that's what the scale that they tell you to eat by whenever you get diabetes. The glycemic index scale is a scale of how fast food breaks down into sugar inside your body. And most of the grains that are at the bottom of the food guide pyramid, and there are the biggest slice of the government's new My Plate, most of those are above table sugar, which means they break down in your body into sugar faster than sugar itself. That's like being a parent and giving your child a plate that looks like this. See, there's vegetables, there's meat, and then there's a big pile of sugar. It may look differently to you. Maybe that's a couple pieces of bread. Maybe that's some turkey stuffing. But to your body, it's a big pile of sugar. That's what it's going to turn into once you put it in your mouth. It's going to turn into sugar very, very quickly. So that's what you're feeding yourself. And you may say, well, I wouldn't give that plate to my children anyways, because clearly those scallops are still frozen. But whatever, I had to take that picture real quick. If you want to learn more about how the medical community is a little out of date, pick up Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Body. Specifically inside the forward, he talks about how the future is now, it's just unevenly distributed. We There are people that have gained muscle and people who have lost weight, that it's just that that information is kind of unevenly distributed throughout our world. There are people that are still using Stone Age tactics to try to go about these things, and they're just not working. So, quick question. Whenever science is wrong, isn't that the step where we're supposed to step back and re-examine what we think is right? Literally, if I pulled up the scientific process right now, wouldn't that be, whenever science is wrong, that wouldn't that be the step, if we can't replicate results, isn't that the step where we're supposed to step back and re-examine or try a different approach? Literally, these people are ignoring the scientific process. They're ignoring science itself. So the other problem with the medical community, the fitness community, is somatotypes. You may have learned about this in health class, possibly in high school. There are 3 different body somatotypes. There was a doctor who studied a bajillion different people and found out that we end up in 3 different shapes. Genetically, just naturally, we wind up in 3 different shapes. There are mesomorphs who easily put on muscle, easily lose weight. Skinny down at the bottom, buff up top. And you may have been jealous of these people in high school and everything. Naturally athletic, naturally look like rock stars and fitness models. Then there are endomorphs. Fat down bottom, skinny up top, because they easily gain weight and it's hard for them to gain muscle. And then there's the ectomorphs. That's like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. Tall, lanky, very thin. My girlfriend has never been more than like 90 pounds, so that's she's an ectomorph. These people can eat at an all-you-can-eat buffet all day, and they won't gain an ounce. So that's crazy, but that's the way these things are. You may also know them as the apple shape, the pear shape, and the banana shape. That's that kind of stuff. Or upside-down barbecue sauce, right side up ketchup, and non-specific steak sauce. So do genetics determine our body shape no matter what? That's what a lot of people would have you believe. If you have been heavy your entire life, you'll never lose weight ever, and you should just give up. That's what a lot of people would have you believe. Well, as it turns out, in the show The Biggest Loser on NBC, some people wear their weight well. It's a term that you'll hear the host of the show use. That means that they've been heavy their entire lives, so the weight is kind of evenly distributed and their muscles can easily support their weight. They usually perform very well. Others do not. Those are the mesomorphs. They don't wear their weight well because they were skinny at one point in time and then suddenly they put on weight. Their natural form is skinny and muscular, so it's imperative for them to get their weight off. It causes them a lot of problems. So mesomorphs can gain weight. However, here's the season of The Biggest Loser that I've never seen, and it's the season where everybody loses weight and one person does not. So, that season where everybody loses 30 pounds the first week and then one person doesn't lose an ounce. Everybody loses 30 pounds the second week, that one person doesn't lose an ounce. I've never seen that season. At the end of the seasons of The Biggest Loser, you can see how much people have lost weight and everything. And some people look like models and rock stars and everything. Those are the mesomorphs. If you did a somatotype test on them, you would literally find out that they are mesomorphs. The other people just look like you and me. They look like normal people. And so because of that, you look at them and, they've lost all the weight, but they just still look like a normal person. But they've lost like 400 pounds or something like that. So endomorphs can lose weight, mesomorphs can gain weight. It doesn't matter how long you've carried around the weight, you can lose it. I've proven it to you. You can watch Biggest Loser, there's 15 seasons of it. You can watch it all. Most of it's on Netflix. There you go. You can prove it to yourself. Can ectomorphs gain muscle though? That tall, lanky kid in your class that you used to know, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, can they gain muscle? Well, Frank Zane did it. Frank Zane was a very famous bodybuilder. As it turned, it was very, very hard for him to put on muscle. But what he did was he eventually put on a little bit of muscle. It's very hard for him to do. And he became about 1/3 of the size of the other bodybuilders. They were still way bigger than him. but he did very aesthetic poses in bodybuilding competitions, and he ended up winning a lot of bodybuilding competitions that way. Mike Mejia wrote a book about how to put on muscles in ectomorph entitled Scrawny to Brawny, and the guys from Westside Barbell for Skinny Bastards do it every day. You can literally open up a tab and buy Scrawny to Brawny right now. A lot of people have gotten success from it. And you can open up another tab and look up Westside Barbell for Skinny Bastards. Start gaining muscle right now before I even stop talking. So how do I lose weight then? Well, the same way they do on The Biggest Loser. You can eat the same way they do on the show with The Biggest Loser meal plans. They'll send you breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks in between. I heard that they're very generous portions. You're not going to starve to death on this program. And you'll just take it if you can afford it, then take the thinking out of losing weight. Just order these meal plans and then just eat nothing but the meals, and then pretty soon the weight will just fall off you. If you can afford it, just take the thinking out of it. It makes things a heck of a lot easier. If The Biggest Loser meal plans are not available because I couldn't find it the other day, I highly recommend P90X meal plans. They also have a meal plan, and it works a lot. If it's not an option, if you can't afford it, then Julia Michaels and Bob Harper both have workouts, cookbooks, and lots of other products online. Because Julia Michaels and Bob Harper have caused over 1 million people to lose like over 1 million pounds over and over again, because they've made people lose so much weight, I can trust that they know what they're doing. They've proven it to me and America and the whole world time and time and time again. So I can be very confident in recommending their services to you. You could always go to beachbody.com and do P90X or any of their other programs. Remember that at beachbody.com, the diet is 90% of the results. They'll tell you that over and over again, but people still ignore that advice. P90X, those results, 90% of it is diet. Insanity, 90% diet. You can't just go there, do the workout, and then expect the weight to fall off. You have to do the diet as well. But I've seen Beachbody.com's products work time and time again. I've had whole squadrons doing P90X whenever I was in the military. So I know that it works. I can recommend it to you with confidence. I know that it works. So it can't be that simple, can it? Well, yes, it can. These fitness methods have proven themselves over and over again, but they're definitely not the whole story. You need to be doing all of the right things to get this whole thing to work. But it's definitely not trick camera work when the contestants on The Biggest Loser lose tons of weight season after season after season. They know what they're talking about. And like I said, we'll get into what all of the right things are in the what video. So, mesomorphs rule the fitness world. That's the other problem with the fitness world, is that mesomorphs rule it. These people who very easily lose weight and gain muscles, that's the people that you see the most of. Chances are you can't look like those people, but you can look like all the other people that are at the end of The Biggest Loser, at the end of the season. So, first type of mesomorph is the guy or gal at the gym. They can give you weight loss advice, but if they've never been more than 220 pounds for a guy or 150 pounds for a woman, chances are they don't actually know what they're talking about. If their muscle gain advice doesn't mirror Westside Barbell's advice, then they probably don't know how to gain muscle. Remember, Westside Barbell, they have a very successful program. Every single time that people come to them, they gain muscle. So Westside Barbell knows what they're talking about. If the advice that you're getting for the guy or the gal at the gym does not match that advice, then chances are that guy or gal is a mesomorph. They could have walked into the gym and just looked at the weights and started gaining muscle. You know, that's their natural shape. That's their natural form. You know, everybody, I hate to bring this up, but way back in the days of the Holocaust and the concentration camps, everybody looked the same after a while. There wasn't fat people in the concentration camps and muscular people. Everybody eventually looked the same because everybody everybody was given the same diets. They were put to the same working routines and everything. So everybody eventually looked the same. Everything was equalized at some point in time. If that doesn't prove to you that genetics do not determine what you look like, then I don't know what will. The second type of mesomorph is the infomercial mesomorph. You see these a lot on the infomercials and stuff. Watch out for key phrases like "I used to be fit" or "used to be an athlete." People who are naturally drawn to being athletes usually are the people who very easily lose weight, very easily gain muscle. Those are the mesomorphs. Or even worse, a before picture that shows them pregnant. If you see a before picture that shows them whenever they were pregnant, then chances are they've never actually had a lot of weight on them. Whole books can be written about how infomercials can deceive, and you can look this information up, but just be wary. The worst mesomorph of all is the medicinal mesomorph. Mesomorphs with lab coats and degrees have the distinct honor of not knowing what they're doing and being trained to back the medical community. With very few exceptions, they'll tell you how to feed your kid the same half plate of sugar at every meal that the government recommends. With very few exceptions, these mesomorphs think that if you're not getting results, it must be your fault, not the fault of poor science, because they look like a rock star no matter what they do. So, mesomorphs, like I said, very easy for them to lose weight, very easy for them to gain muscle. They can look at a muscle magazine and suddenly pack on 20 pounds of lean muscle, and they could go on a walking program and lose 100 pounds. That's just the way that they are. They're returning to their natural shape, So because of that, they will back the medical community's recommendations, and then they tell you that if you're not getting results on it, then it must be your fault. It's crazy, but that's exactly how it works. So what's my stake in all this? This is your chance to skip ahead. I'll put a notation here on the video in YouTube so that you know what minutes and seconds to skip ahead to, so that you don't have to hear me talk about my life. If you don't care about me, then just go ahead and skip ahead. But there's a lot of people that get curious and everything. There's a lot of people that get skeptical, and they want to know what I'm going to get out of all this. So I'll tell you. Before I joined the military, I spent a period of roughly 6 months being homeless, and I went through 9 different jobs. Got fired from some, quit a lot of others. This was my house whenever I was homeless. It was a 1987 Dodge Omni hatchback, very reliable vehicle. I ripped the headliner down from the vehicle and used it as a blanket. I used to have to siphon gas. I stole clothes from the lockers of a local gym that I didn't even belong to, and I took showers with their hand soap. I pretty much went through the rigmarole. So whenever I joined the Navy, I thought of it as my golden ticket. I was a career man from the start. I was going to stay in the Navy for 20 years and then retire and then be taken care of the rest of my life. That sounded way better than the 9 different jobs that I tried on the outside world, and a lot better than being homeless. So after training, my first command was at Chinhae Naval Base in South Korea, working with Central Naval Forces Korea in CFAC security, and I've long forgotten what CFAC stands for. I wouldn't have survived those first few years without the assistance of my sea daddy, MA2 Hauser. He gets a special mention here because he saved my life. It was all going well until I took one simple self-help test that revealed that I really didn't have a life. As it turns out, this was about 2 years into my Navy career. I was ironing for 6 hours a day. It may seem ridiculous, but I was ironing all of my civilian clothes so that I wouldn't get yelled at whenever I wasn't at work, because, you're supposed to be in the military 24/7. Also, I would have to iron my whole entire uniform, and then there was about 8 different sections that I had to use starch on to maintain my appearance. I would spray down one section with starch, and then I'd have to wait for it to dry, because if you iron it whenever it's still wet, it leaves a bunch of white flecks all over your uniform, and people yell at you the next day. So I'd have to starch one side, wait for it to dry, iron it, starch the other side, wait for it to dry, iron it. And I had to keep going like this. I was literally ironing for about 6 hours a day. Whenever I wasn't doing this, I was working out just to maintain my basic physical fitness standards. It was very hard for me to pass the run every time that I ran. I was a terrible runner, and we'll get to why I was such a terrible runner a little bit later on in this video. Whenever I wasn't working out or ironing, I was drinking. I really didn't have a life. This thought depressed me a great deal because because that meant that I was going to spend 20 years like this. I was going to spend 20 years ironing 6 hours a day, drinking and working out, and that was going to be my life for 20 years. I'd already tried everything on the outside world, and on the outside world, outside of the military, I was homeless and I had gone through 9 different jobs. So I thought, well, this is it. I'm either going to be homeless and go through lots of different jobs and everything, or I'm going to have no life just to try to maintain my time in the military. I wasn't willing to go through it. I whipped my gun out of its holster, put a round in the barrel, and I just stared at it for a while. And eventually, something told me to put it away. I don't know what it was, if it was God or whatever you believe, the universe. Something told me to put that gun away, and I did. I turned it in at the end of my shift, and then I called the suicide hotline the second I got home. I must have talked to that woman on the other end of the phone for hours. And eventually, she asked me an important question. She said, "What do you want to be whenever you get out of the military in 20 years?" And I said, I just want to be a grumpy old PE teacher that yells at the kids for playing the game wrong. I was thinking very specifically of Mr. Parmentier from East Alton Wood River High in Wood River, Illinois, which is a high school that I attended. She said, "Why are you waiting 20 years to do that?" Now, I knew while I was waiting because, obviously, the outside world hadn't treated me very well, but at the time it made me think differently. Maybe I could design a civilian life before I leave the military while I was still inside the military. So, I took a lot of classes. First off, I did a college-level examination program test, which is a 2-hour-long test, and you test out of a certain class. If you do well enough on the test, they consider that you know everything from the class, and then they hand you those college credits. So I clept out of English composition. I took an introductory course at American Military University online. I failed that course, but I took it. And I took a speech class at Rose State College in Oklahoma. I ordered up a personal trainer certification through International Sports Sciences Association, and I'm currently taking classes at Lewis and Clark Community College to get an exercise science degree. I took a lot of classes. Then, Eben Pagan convinced me that my talents were put to better use through becoming an internet product marketer. Eben Pagan, I've never met the man in real life, but through his products, he told me that I could help thousands of people by making and selling an ebook in the same length of time it would take me to help a single person as a personal trainer. That sparked something in my brain. So I ended up spending $25,000 on business courses. That's not a typo. I ordered up programs like Wake Up Productive, Self-Made Wealth, Guru Blueprint, Guru Home Study Course, Ignition, Get Connected, Dan Kennedy's DNA course. If you, I list these off so that you can pause the video and literally look these programs up. I'm not kidding around. These programs, a lot of these programs are over $2,000 a piece. So very expensive. And I'll get into why they were so expensive here in a little bit, and why I spent all the money here in a little bit. So I left the military ready to start on my business. Then I started to get depressed again. I had a proper diet, I was exercising, and I didn't drink alcohol very often. Happiness is just a chemical. Why wasn't I feeling happy? You know, I had the whole house to myself. There was no reason for this. What was the problem? I called up the suicide hotline. This time, before I had a suicide attempt, before anything got too bad. I called them up again. I told them what was going on, and then they told me that it sounded like I had a chemical imbalance in my brain, which is depression. They said, why don't you go to the Veterans Affairs office and see whether or not you got damaged during your time in the military. So I went to the VA. They put me through a battery of tests, and it turns out that I have a form of post-traumatic stress disorder. I was diagnosed at John Cochrane Hospital in VA hospital in the middle of St. Louis. And they said that it relates to my suicide attempt whenever I was in South Korea. I also have a permanent heel spur in my foot, which was diagnosed at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma. The doctor there said that if they sanded it back down, then it would just grow back even bigger and uglier. It causes permanent plantar fasciitis in my left foot, and which is so crippling that I actually cannot run. They tested, that's why I was so bad at running. They tested my hearing, they gave me a sleep study, and they noted my exposure to asbestos that I had whenever I was in the military. So not only can I not get a job doing what I used to do or being in the military, I can't even be a lifeguard if I wanted. They have to be able to run. The whole time I was irrationally spending money on business courses, it was because of my post-traumatic stress disorder. I was battling the gut-wrenching fear that comes along with not knowing whether my next job will drive me to suicide again. I have no job prospects, no support, and no way to do this. Things are looking pretty grim for me. I pay most of my bills to the post-9/11 GI Bill by taking full-time classes at Lewis and Clark Community College. In between semesters, I have to lean on credit cards because I get no money coming in. And I take full-time classes year-round, but there are spaces in between semesters. A lot of times I have over a month of time in between the fall semester and the spring semester where there's no money coming in. And if there's no money coming in, how am I going to eat? A lot of times I had to rely on my credit cards. Now they're all maxed out, and I'm facing bankruptcy. So things are looking pretty grim for me. But I'm going to make this product or die trying. I've already put up a website. I hired web.com for over a year paid in advance. I bought Easy Video Player and have been paying for it for months. I went to a $2,500 Glazer Kennedy Insider Circle Business Conference in Georgia in 2011, and I'm still enrolled in Lewis and Clark Community College, utilizing the post-9/11 GI Bill to pay the vast majority of my bills. But I'm going to need your help in order to get this thing going. If you're viewing this on YouTube, click the link in the description that will take you to my GoFundMe page. Donate what you can, even if it's only $1. If you can't donate anything, like, share, or tweet this video. Get the message out there any way that you can. Or you could just leave. I probably won't ever know. If you haven't gotten anything of value from this video, then click out of this page. I might be wrong about everything. I have no idea. However, I hope I've given you some things that you can start using right away so you can start losing weight or gaining muscle right now. The best part is you won't have to guess if what I'm telling you will work for you or not, because you know it's worked for so many people already. You know the Biggest Loser stuff is going to cause you to lose weight. You know Westside Barbell for Skinny Bastards is going to cause you to lose muscle. You know these things are going to work because they've proven themselves so often before. Now, I have a couple questions for you. What if this business succeeds? What if it actually becomes popular? What if people start knowing what does work and what doesn't work? What if people actually start getting the results that they are promised? What if you start getting the results you are promised? Diet and exercise programs can prevent disease. They can prevent Alzheimer's. They can prevent cancer. They've been proven to prevent all sorts of diseases all the way across the spectrum. And these programs can literally save people's lives. It's been proven on The Biggest Loser. A lot of people were nearing death. That's how bad they were, and these programs saved their lives. So what if this stuff actually starts working? Would you spread the word? Now I'm going to whoa, I got caught up there. I was going to just thank you for watching this video up until this point, but remember that this is all one video, so the warnings that I put at the beginning of this video apply to every part of this video, and I just have to get that out of the way. I wanted to wrap up the last part of this video. I wanted to mention well tabs and Bad Buddhist Radio. These things have both helped me out in my time of need. Well tabs is kind of an over-the-counter antidepressant type of thing. You see, like depression is kind of seeing everything as a glass half full type of deal. And there is an opposite to depression where you see everything, well, glass half empty, glass half full type of thing. And there is real, like, if you read Csikszentmihalyi's book, Flow, The Psychology of Personal Performance, I think. If you read that book, he talks about joy and stuff like that, and all these different alpha states. But there is, there's an opposite to depression, and well taps help me get there. I've been self-treating for depression for a long time. A friend of mine, whenever I ran out of well tabs, he actually lent me his prescription strength antidepressants, and they weren't enough. I actually had to go drink Neurobliss every single day as well. A Neurobliss is a drink that you can get kind of at local gas stations. I get them a lot at my local Quick Trip, and they're another great drink. But I highly recommend well tabs. They've absolutely saved my life, and they will save yours as well. It's just a nutritional supplement. It's not like a medicine. It's just a nutritional supplement. My theory is that it contains all the things that create endorphins inside your body, so that you can create the feeling of happiness more often. Whatever it is, even if it's only the placebo effect, it's helped me out a lot. It's saved my life, so it might save somebody else's, and I want to get that information out there. Bad Buddhist Radio is something that I used a great deal during my dark days in the military to kind of cheer me up a lot. And you can check it out at badbuddhistradio.com. There's nothing much for you to buy there. It doesn't cost a dime. What it really is it's a podcast, and it's ran by a friend of mine, Ryu Cope, but I know him as Dan Cope. And it's a wonderful podcast, and I loved it, and it's probably gotten me through plenty of dark times. You guys may think that it's really weird that I have a fear of getting a job, a fear of being put in a situation where I would be suicidal again. But you got to remember that Abraham Lincoln had a fear of keeping knives in his house because he was afraid that he would spontaneously kill himself. He was battling crippling depression his entire life, and he was the president of the United States. So if he can do something silly like that, then clearly maybe you can understand where I'm coming from. You might also say that if I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, then I should have a disability rating, and I should. However, I got out of the military very recently, and I didn't really start I got out of the military in like 2011. I didn't really start going for to try to find out whether or not there was something wrong with me because of my wartime experience until right around 2012. By the time that they actually got the diagnosis through, and they put it to the disability board in order to try to find out whether or not I had disability, it's going to be a long wait. They sent me back a letter. The disability board where I'm living sent me back a letter stating that they're still approving applications from 2010, and they told me not to contact them again for another 6 months. So it's going to be a while. It will probably be a substantial amount if and when it ever comes along. You know, if it's 100% disability, then I will get enough money to live out here in the Midwest, no problem. But until then, I'm going to be at a loss. The last thing I want to wrap up from the last video is the fact that Napoleon Hill isn't the only game in town whenever it comes to his type of genre of books. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill went and interviewed a bunch of people and then tried to get their secrets from them, how they got rich and everything that can be duplicated in others. Well, so did Michael Ellsberg, and he released a very recent book entitled The Education of Millionaires. And it gets very, very specific on how you can try to replicate the results. Incredibly specific advice. It's a fantabulous book. I love it. And it involves my my good friend and mentor Evan Pagan in it. So of course I'm always going to have a bias towards it, but it's a wonderful book. It was probably released in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, and it's probably the best book that I've read in the business world so far. So this is the what, how, and what if video. Like I said, Evan Pagan taught me about people's 4 learning styles, which was why, how, what, why, what, how, and what if. And you've already done the why section of the video, and this is going to be the how section of the video. So this part of the video is going to go through my business plan per the Small Business Administration's guidelines. If I was trying to get money from the Small Business Administration for this, I would have to give them a business plan, and you shouldn't feel any less important than the Small Business Administration. If I was trying to get money from them, I would be in a suit and tie trying to impress them, and I should be in a suit and tie trying to impress you. But the biggest thing is that I have a plan, not just an idea. If I had an idea, then this would be not so good, because ideas don't go anywhere. If you give money to somebody with an idea, that might not do anything. So think of yourself as a publisher. What you are doing, if you like, share, or tweet this video, you are trying to accelerate the process of making this this thing that I'm trying to create into a thing that's out there in the world. Every dime that I'm going to get from my GoFundMe page is going to go towards the process of trying to accelerate this out into the world and make this something that people can have and hold and do whatever they want with. So think of yourself as a publisher. So what's in it for me? This is the part of the video containing all the right things. That's what's in it for you. I keep talking about all the right things. Well, this is all the right things. This is my best stuff. I've taken 15 years to learn these lessons, put them into action, and get the results that I alluded to in the first part of the video. I did lose a pound a day. I did lose 1% body fat a week. I have kept that off for the entire time. I've been doing this stuff, just these action steps very, very specifically for about 3.5 years, and they've been the best years of my life. And I want to give that to you. So remember, the military didn't work me out. I had to find ways to work out in spite of a 16-hour-a-day work schedule. And I've already busted up the exercises versus genetics arguments with examples. I can do more good outside the medical community than inside. You know what I think about the medical community at this point, but that's the exact same speech that they gave Tim Ferriss whenever he was apprehensive about his book 4 Hour Body. Tim Ferriss was very apprehensive about writing that book because he doesn't have he's not a doctor or anything like that, so he doesn't have any medical experience. So but they told him that he can do more good outside the medical community than inside, and I believe that I can do the same. Tim Ferriss has caused a lot of people to lose a lot of weight, and he's done a lot of good with that book, and he doesn't have any degrees or certifications in the medical community at all. So what I'll cover in here is what this thing will be and what it will contain. That's the main points that I'm going to be covering here in this part. This part of the video is going to be no frills. This part of the video, not much, there's not going to be as many like silly pictures and stuff like that, because I want you to get you the raw facts, and I want to get it to you quickly. I don't want to waste your time. So here's what it will be, or the form that it will take. I'm going to do a do this, not that, instead of an eat this, not that. You may remember a book that was released probably about 10 years ago, and it was called Eat This, Not That. And it was written by David Zinczenko, who is the co-editor of Men's Health magazine, and he also wrote the book The Abs Diet. And it was a wonderful book. What David knew was that people were going to cheat on their diet, and he wanted to make sure that people minimize the damage that they did whenever they cheat. So he created a book with about 1,000 different restaurants with 1,000 different dishes in there, and simply told people to eat this instead of that. For example, if you were to go up to Taco Bell and whip out the Eat This, Not That book, it would tell you to eat this taco at Taco Bell instead of this taco, or whatever that you were ordering on the menu. And usually the difference between the two different items would have you doing about 1/3 of the damage that you would regularly do. They have about 1/3 of the amount of bad stuff inside the second option, the eat this option instead of the not that option. And usually you don't have to sacrifice taste. So you can go out, you can cheat and everything on your diet. And there's lots of people that eat 100% of their meals out in the world because they travel a lot or whatever. And so they have the eat this, not that thing, and they've actually managed to lose weight, stay in shape, get control over their health, even though they eat out 100% of their meals and they travel all around the world, you know. So it's a very good option. And I'm not saying anything bad about Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell. It's good, cheap food. Good food and cheap food. So this will not be a book like Eat This, Not That, and it will not be an ebook. It's not going to be a franchise or a gym or a store. I don't want to make something that I'm going to have to translate into multiple different languages or something like that, or something where it's only going to be in one part of the world, and if you're on the other half of the world, the other end of the world, then you're going to be screwed because you're never going to see it. I want to create a membership website. A membership website, you know, you put in your username and your password, and then you get access to the website, and I'm going to put videos on there. For example of good membership websites that I'm going to try to almost directly copy is Eben Pagan's programs Wake Up Productive and Self-Made Wealth. Both of those are membership websites and wonderful, wonderful programs that I highly recommend, and it's exactly what I'm going to do with this product, or this thing that I'm trying to create. So part of the reason is because you learn more from what things that you are more entertaining. Like remember back to whenever you were a kid. Did you learn more from the highly informed teachers, or did you learn more the highly informed and highly the teachers with the most knowledge and stuff like that, and certifications? Or did you learn from the teachers that were more entertaining? Chances are you remember more stuff and you learn more stuff from the more entertaining teachers. Frank Kern calls this edutainment. He has a lot of great products in the internet marketing community, and what he says is he likes to take his stuff and all of the stuff that he has to teach and wrap it up in like fart jokes and stuff like that, just because it's edutainment. You'll learn more that way. Tony Robbins has been taking advantage of what he calls net time for years. He's been doing products that are designed for you to take advantage of time when you're not really doing anything. Like if you're driving to work or driving back from work, or if you are in the shower or stuff like that. Time when you're not really doing anything, but you could be improving your life. And I love Tony Robbins. He's not just a motivational speaker. Quick story about Tony Robbins. He was once introduced to a woman who hadn't left her house in over 30 years, and he introduced her to a blind mountain climber, and 30 days later she was scaling the Grand Tetons. That's the kind of power that Tony Robbins has. So Tony Robbins is more than just a motivational speaker. He is a real life changer, and I love him to death. So So here's what this thing will contain. It's going to be a membership site, right? You get that part. But what it's going to have in it is 5 different videos. So it's going to have 5 videos. It's going to be the introduction, how to learn more, and diet, exercise, and lifestyle. And I'll explain what's going to be inside those videos. There's also going to be possible extra audio and video files for people who want to learn more, and some transcripts and PDF documents for people who want to read more. Tim Ferriss, after he wrote his book, The 4-Hour Body, he ran across a lot of Fortune 500 executives, and these executives asked him how to lose weight, and they said, all I need to know is how. And so he wrote down on an index card how to lose weight for these executives. None of them took any action. None of them took his advice, because people need to know why. They need to know why this is going to work. They need to know how. They need to know these things in order to, they need to know the why, what, how, and what if in order to follow the advice. So that's why there's going to be extra audio and video files for people who are curious and everything, because otherwise it's not going to get used. So the first video is going to be the initiation. I want to weed out the non-action takers, the people that are not going to use this product. You may have gone on Amazon and Yelp.com, both wonderful websites, and seen reviews from people who have not actually used the product. They'll say something like, well, the product was the wrong color, so I returned it for full refund. I actually saw a review of P90X that said that they didn't use the product because they thought the personal trainer on the videos, Tony Horton, his voice was too annoying. And that is flabbergasting. Like, that is the reason that you are going to risk your health, your life, and the longevity of your life and your entire family, because the personal trainer's voice is too annoying. That's complete crap, especially since in the DVD versions you can turn his voice off. So that was just crazy, and that is exactly what I don't want to get in this product. I want people to use this. I want to be able to use this so I can see whether or not it actually works for them. If it doesn't work for them, I don't want their money. Remember, eventually I'm going to get some sort of disability from something, and it's probably going to be enough to live off of. So whenever that time comes around, I won't need people's money, so I would want people to have the money back if they didn't get anything from the product. I'm trying to give people something that's going to change their life, not something so that I can get cash. So I'm going to be skipping around here in this little bit because I want to give you the most powerful stuff first, the stuff that's really going to make a difference first. Then I'll go around to it. So the 4th video out of 5 is going to be lifestyle, and I'm going to tell you about this first because it's the most powerful thing. So I said there's going to be diet, exercise, and lifestyle, right? That's going to be the 3 videos: diet, exercise, lifestyle. Well, what does that even mean? Well, in the lifestyle video, in order to understand this better, I'm going to have to tell you about the story of Joe Vitale and Lou Ferrigno. Joe Vitale was in The Secret. You might have seen him. It's the Secret movie. One of the versions of the Secret movie. He's in there. He's got a lot of self-help products, a lot of business products, and he's a great dude. But he was heavy his entire life, and he wanted to lose weight. He was fed up with it. And so what he did was he decided to cut off contact with his friends and his family and instead go hang out with Lou Ferrigno and all of his friends for a while. Lou Ferrigno, you may remember as the Incredible Hulk from the 1960s, 1970s movies. So he was the Incredible Hulk. He's a very famous bodybuilder, very nice dude. And so Joe Vitale began hanging out with Lou Ferrigno, and he did not stop hanging out with him until he lost the weight and he became a little miniature bodybuilder just like them. And from then on, Joe Vitale has these pictures floating around the internet of him looking like a little miniature Incredible Hulk. So, lots of fun, right? Well, couldn't a Joe done this just with a personal trainer and a dietitian? No, and I'll tell you why. Rich people are not rich because they won the lottery. Like I said, lottery winners usually lose all of their earnings within the span of a single year, and then they end up worse off than they were before they won the lottery. So, rich people are not rich because they won the lottery. They're rich for different reasons. For example, the rich people aren't rich because they won the lottery. Rich people are rich because they do stuff every day that makes them rich. So Warren Buffett, what he does is he reads for 8 hours a day. He reads like it's a full-time job, and he only makes one investment opportunity a year. Now, Warren Buffett was the richest man in the world for a very long time before somebody finally dethroned him. And so he reads like a full-time job, and you might work a full-time job, but you're making how much a year? 20,000, 30,000? Because he's making billions. And I don't think that you can start reading 8 hours a day and then trying to replicate the results that Warren Buffett has. So Eben Pagan told me about a study that stated that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around most. So as it turns out that they can tell everything about you by the 5 people that you hang around with most. Your personality, whether or not you're funny, the shape that you're in, yeah, whether or not you're fat, thin, whatever, and how much money you make. That all gets governed by the 5 people that you hang around most. And this is the only thing that Joe Vitale changed. Not his exercise routine, not his diet routine. He didn't hire a personal coach. He didn't get hypnotists or acupuncture classes. No, he changed the 5 people that he hang around most. And he did not stop until he lost all the weight and everything. Whenever he finally came back to his family, they didn't even recognize him. It was so crazy. So, the best way to get rich? Hang around rich people. Well, that doesn't help me at all, you may say, because I don't know any rich people, and I don't know any bodybuilders. So, what am I going to do with this information? How do you use this? How do you do all that? Go to meetup.com, www.meetup.com. You can open it up right now and start looking at meetups around your area, wherever you are in the world. You can look this up, start going to these meetup.com meetings. You can literally start hanging out with rich people today, cut off contact with your poor friends and family, and then don't stop until you are rich. You can literally do that right now. Hang around people who are already getting results, have already gotten results, or at least are on the same path as you. And if you can't do it in person, do it online. Beachbody.com, no matter which one of your products, their products that you get, whether it's P90X, Insanity, whatever, Beachbody.com always recommends that you log in online and you chat in their forums and stuff like that, and you get online and you find these other people as often as humanly possible, because they want you to get around other people that are already getting these results, already have the results, or at least are on the same path as you. I think of it like this. Whenever you start a diet, all you do is eat salads. And then eventually, how fast would you get tired of eating only salads? What, a couple of days maybe? And then pretty soon you're off the diet. But if you get around a bunch of people that have been on the diet for years, they're going to open up your mind to all the recipes and food and everything that you can eat. You're going to find out that you can still eat the same thing that you used to, but you just got to change the ingredients. Like you can have the sandwich, but it has a whole wheat bread or a gluten-free bread or something like that. Otherwise, nothing changes. You can eat the potato chips, but eat sweet potato chips instead. These types of things. So, whenever you get around these people that are successful in the in these diets that you have tried to do, that's whenever it's going to open your mind up. Oh, I can eat things that are not salads. I get it. So the third video is exercise. Now remember to get your physician's permission before starting any diet or exercise regime. I have to repeat these warnings because it never fails. Somebody's going to go out there and get themselves hurt because they're not actually medically ready for this stuff. The exercise routine that I most recommend is CrossFit, and I know I'm going to catch hell for that, but CrossFit gets results. Just ask Bob Harper. Who's Bob Harper? Oh yeah, Bob Harper is one of the personal trainers on the show The Biggest Loser. People have lost well over 1 million pounds because of Bob Harper, and Bob Harper just drank the CrossFit Kool-Aid. There's an article floating around on the internet saying that Bob Harper is, I think he's in his late 40s, and he just was talking about how he finally tried CrossFit and everything, and now he's in the best shape that he's ever been in his entire life, and he's totally obsessed with it now. He's going to CrossFit all the time. He's endorsing it. And I even heard that he changed his diet to a certain other diet that I might talk about in the diet section, but he can't talk about it because he has endorsements with a certain product that's not on the diet. Oh well. Well, CrossFit gets you stronger faster than any other fitness method that I've seen. Just ask the United States Marines. The story that was fed to me about the CrossFit in the U.S. Marines goes a little bit like this. The first CrossFit gym was kind of getting full, and it was near a Marine base that was going there, and they were getting better results than they got with their fitness methods in the United States Marines. However, and this is that's a heck of a compliment, because this is the best fighting force on the planet. You would think that they know how to work out by this point, but apparently they didn't. So the CrossFit gym was getting too many people going to it, and they needed to upgrade to a bigger gym. But the Marines couldn't make the drive all the way out to the bigger gym. So the CrossFit owners came up with a solution. They said, we'll buy brand new equipment for this other gym, and you guys can have the equipment for this old gym. So the Marines came by, they thanked them profusely, and then they loaded up all of this equipment from this gym and then dragged it all the way to the base, where they still do CrossFit to this day. Not only that, but as the story goes, there's at least one CrossFit affiliate gym on every U.S. Marine base on the planet, and there's usually one in every 2 U.S. Navy bases on the planet, or at least that's how the story goes. I haven't been to as many bases to confirm this. These are the permanent Marine bases, by the way. Now, CrossFit resembles Olympic training camps, but it is scalable to the average Joe. If you don't think it works, then you should just ask BJ Penn, a famous mixed martial artist fighter, or Tom Pappas, Diego de Santos, Jason McDonald, Dustin Winterhold, Andrew Barrage. You can ask any of these people. A lot of them are Olympic athletes, and they swear by CrossFit. So, there's a lot of people saying that it's good. The medical community doesn't like CrossFit. The U.S. Army did a study regarding its effectiveness, and it was clearly more effective than traditional training, something that the U.S. Marines knew for years. The claim that the injury rate is high for CrossFit workouts is highly unsubstantiated. People are going to tell you that you're going to get injured doing CrossFit, but as it turns out, that the injury rate is not any higher than it is on any other training program. CrossFit people get thumbs up in doctor's visits until they mention that they're doing CrossFit. That's whenever the doctor goes, oh no, you're going to get injured, and stuff like that. But you know how I feel about the medical community at this point. So just try it out for 30 days. Do a side-by-side comparison with another program. Do one program for 30 days, then take a month of CrossFit, and see how you look, feel, and perform before and after both activities, both programs. Remember that diet is 90% of your results, so control your variables. If you're going to eat normal through all 60 days, then eat normal through all 60 days. If you're going to diet during all 60 days, then don't deviate for the 60 days. If you eat good during the one program and then crappy during your CrossFit program, then chances are you're not going to get very good results. So just control your variables. And so pretty soon you're going to find that the CrossFit gets better results. I don't have to prove that it works. Bob Harper, quite possibly the best personal trainer in the galaxy, the U.S. Marines and the Army, all the athletes, all of them, they all endorse CrossFit. You can always check CrossFit.com and Google CrossFit images. Then you can visit your local CrossFit gym affiliate to see if the people in your local CrossFit match the Google images results. If you go to your local CrossFit gym after you look at CrossFit on your Google images, ask the gym owner to point you towards the people that had been there the longest. They're going to point at the people that are beautiful. They usually look like, characters off of Dragon Ball Z or something. You can always do the workouts of the day right off of the CrossFit.com website. And there are apps out there for Android and iPhone and everything that convert the workout of the day to a body weight only workout. And then that way you can do it if you don't have any equipment at home or wherever you're traveling. So at this point, I'd like to shout out to CrossFit Exile. I took 3 months of CrossFit Exile in Moore, Oklahoma, which is ran by Stacy Jennings, who is also a 4-year veteran of the United States Navy. He was a corpsman the whole time. So if you go down to CrossFit Exile, start taking classes there, if you're in and around Moore, Oklahoma, and you get injured there, Stacy might actually be able to put you back together. So just wanted to shout out there. The second video is diet. First off, get your physician's permission before starting any diet or exercise regime. This is your body, be very, very careful with it. The diet that I recommend is the paleo diet, and I know I'm going to catch hell for that, but whatever. It works. You can see the studies referenced in the Paleo Solution with Rob Wolf. Just flip to the back of the book. You don't even have to buy it. And you'll see all the references that are in the back of his book. You can try to argue against them and try to say that they're not science and whatever like that. But it works. It's been proven to work over and over and over again. Can't argue with the fact that it works. Or you can always look up the before and afters on Google Images. Just search before and after paleo diet. And then you'll see a lot of before and after images like that. There's a lot of misinformation out there about this diet. People argue with why it works, not that it works. Even if you look on Wikipedia, you're going to find a lot of arguments against why it works. People are going to say, oh, well, they don't like the reason why it works. But they can't argue that it works. You know, I don't care if jumping up in the air makes you lose 5,000 pounds and nobody knows why. If it makes you lose 5,000 pounds and you got 5,000 pounds to lose, I'm going to jump up in the air. What about you? So it works. The medical community doesn't like paleo and they don't like Rob Wolf. To avoid a lot of the misinformation in the paleo community, I highly recommend getting all your information from Rob Wolf at robwolf.com. That's ROBBWOLF, just like it's spelled on the screen. .com. If you don't want to spend $10 whole on his book, you can always listen to his podcast and everything. Rob Wolf was a biochemist for a period of 5 years, I think. He tells you exactly what happens whenever a food enters your mouth, what chemical reactions go on, what processes are happening, those types of things. Nutritionists, on the other hand, will tell you what nutrients something has and then decide mathematically whether or not it's good or bad for you. So, for example, are peppers good or bad for you? Well, nutritionists will tell you that peppers are very nutrient dense and they got a lot of good stuff in them and everything. However, if you eat a pepper that's high up on the Scoville unit scale, you are going to experience a lot of pain and discomfort, and you're going to start sweating, and your nose is going to start running, and you're going to start crying, and it might ruin your day, or you might ruin your whole weekend. If you look up a video of a person eating a YouTube video of a person eating a habanero pepper, you're going to see a lot of bad things happen to them. But the nutritionist would still tell you that, well, these peppers have a lot of nutrients in them, so they're healthy. Rob Wolf would have a different opinion. He would tell you that that pepper is a nightshade, and if you eat too many nightshades, you're going to get joint pain, and it's because of these different chemical processes. He'll also tell you that that the reason why all these things happen whenever you eat a pepper, your body is literally under attack, and its only defense is to try to get rid of the pepper, and so it starts sweating, and you start crying, and your nose starts running. Rob Wolf would probably tell you that peppers are not good for you. If you look at a YouTube video of somebody eating a habanero pepper, and you say, and you can actually tell me that that's going to be good for somebody, I don't care how many degrees that you have, you are a moron. And if that is what it takes to be healthy, then count me out. Paleo people, whenever they go to the doctor and they get checkups, they get the thumbs up until they tell the doctor that they have gone paleo. That's whenever the doctor says, no, you need to be eating via the food guide pyramid, blah, 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 and you know where that all leads down to. By the way, I have been doing the paleo diet for 3.5 years. I go to the doctor quite often because I deal with the VA a lot, the Veterans Administration. And so I've never got a bad blood test. I've never got a bad blood sample. I'm healthy as an ox. So I don't see that there's anything wrong with the way that they eat. So how do you do the paleo diet? First off, stop eating all grains. Wheat, corn, oats, sorghum, rice, everything, all grains. Second off, stop consuming all dairy products. Remember that coconut milk and almond milk is not dairy. So stop consuming all dairy. You know, that includes your cheese and your milk and your yogurt and your ice cream. But you can always eat coconut milk and coconut milk cheese and coconut milk yogurt and coconut milk ice cream. You're just switching out ingredients. Stop consuming all legumes, all lentils, all beans, all that stuff. Yes, this includes soy, all legumes, and cut out all sugars, and that includes all of your sugar alternatives, all the maple syrups, all the other little sugars, all the dextrose, all the fructose, all the sucrose, all sugar, all the agave nectar, all the maple syrup, all sugars. Try it out for 30 days. Get your physician's permission first, try it out, see how you look, feel, and perform, and if it doesn't work, read The Paleo Solution by Rob Wolf. I got that little how-to that I just gave you a long time ago, and then I got on the paleo diet. That's whenever I lost 1 pound a day, lost 1% body fat per week, and then have kept it off ever since then. However, I didn't read anything about the paleo diet. I just got the how-to. So I started eating things that weren't on the paleo diet, thinking that they were. I was like, well, corn is a vegetable, so obviously I can eat corn. Turns out it's a grain. And because of that, I gained like 15 pounds because I kept eating things that weren't on the paleo diet, thinking that they were. So if it doesn't work, read The Paleo Solution by Rob Wolf. You can spare the $10 to buy the book. It's not going to hurt you. If it still doesn't work, try out The Personal Paleo Code by Chris Kresser. Nutritionists would say that we're all built the same, we're all human beings, and the things that they say are healthy are always going to be healthy. The things that they say are not healthy are always going to be unhealthy. However, you probably know somebody who is allergic to like strawberries, which is a healthy fruit. So at least Chris Kresser will tell you that not every human being is exactly the same. So he'll find certain things. He'll find out that you can't eat certain things that paleo people can eat, but you can eat certain things that paleo people can't eat. These types of things. They'll personalize it for your body type. Rob Wolf would recommend Chris Kresser, and he has. So this is just the chain of experts here. So if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. You just eat weird for a little while, and then you go back to what you were doing before. You're not investing in a $2 bajillion machine. You just eat for a little while, and if then it doesn't work, you can just go back to what you're doing before. Whatever. I'm an idiot. I'm just some guy that you found on the internet. No harm, no foul. The final video is going to be how to learn more. Experts will always know more than me. I'm not going to learn everything there is to know about diet and exercise and fitness and everything. So experts will always know more than me. So I'm going to refer you to experts. I'm going to refer you to Rob Wolf if you ask me paleo questions, because I don't know the answer. Rob Wolf does, and I'm not going to learn everything about the paleo diet just because I'm recommending it to you. Do you know everything about the history of everything that has to do with a movie? Do you have to memorize everything about that movie just to recommend it to somebody? No. So, for the truly curious or the very skeptical, I want to make this final video about how to learn more. But remember that the first video is to weed out non-action takers. Prove that it works for you. Prove that with action. If you take 30 days of the CrossFit or paleo diet, you're going to be able to tell me exactly whether or not it works for you. If you just do that for 1 month, and you can look in the mirror and tell me whether or not it worked for you. You can step on the scale and tell me whether or not it worked for you. And I don't have to prove to you that these things work, because I already have. And plenty of other people have too. So what are you waiting for? I've given you my best stuff. Aren't you tired of not getting results? I was tired of not getting results after 15 years. I'm sure you're tired of not getting results by now. So don't wait until this product comes around, this thing that I'm going to create comes around. Start now. Start with your physician's permission. Make a doctor's appointment now. Get into action today, right away, now. Start doing all of the right things. Start getting the results that you want today. Stop waiting. Start doing the stuff now. To reiterate, I'm going to be on this project until I die. This is my best stuff. This is the exact things that I used to lose a pound a day, 1% body fat per week, and keep it off for all of this time. It took me 15 years to learn about this stuff and put it into action to get the results that I got. I can't save the world, but this is what I can do. I can make the fitness community something that you can trust again, instead of looking at us like a bunch of snake oil salesmen trying to grab all your cash. Now, I can't be the doctor that brings humanity out into space, or the scientist that brings humanity out of space, or makes first contact with aliens, or the doctor that cures cancer, or the major world illnesses and everything. But I can do this. This stuff has been proven to prevent diseases. They dug up like 600 bones of that came from people who ate paleo, and they didn't have they had no signs of diseases at all. They didn't have any cavities at all. They didn't have any osteoporosis. Their bones are very strong. They were actually taller than us. These types of things, they have proven that these types of this type of diet, that this type of exercise can prevent diseases, chronic fatigue syndrome, some forms of cancer, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, these types of things. You know, if the best scientist in the world is going to be able to take us out into space, if the best scientist in the world gets Alzheimer's and they can't help us, but maybe I can help them avoid that. This is the maximal amount that I can do. This is my contribution to the world. I'm trying the best I can. This is what I can do. I can't be the person that saves the world, but I can do this. And you can help me. I hope I can do something like Virgin did. Virgin Galactic is doing space tourism. It's taking people like you and I, not NASA astronauts, people like you and I up into space to see our big blue world from above. Virgin Oceanic is they're trying to get to the bottom of the Marianas Trench, which is the deepest part of our ocean and the only part of the Earth that we have not laid our human eyes on. Virgin Earth Challenge is solving world hunger, preventing global warming, and they've actually started solving world conflicts. They've ended several wars already. They're doing a very good job. And I can only hope to just help these kind of amazing people. I'm just so small in sharp comparison to these amazing, wonderful people around the world. CrossFit as well is a wonderful business and community to get associated and affiliated with. CrossFit Kids helps a lot of underprivileged kids, a lot of kids that would otherwise most likely end up in prison and stuff like that, and they get them on the right track. They've recently went out to Kenya and gave their type of fitness to that community and brought a whole village together, gave a lot of stuff to them, helped them out a whole lot. There are people out there that are already getting these results, but the knowledge of what works just isn't widespread, and we don't trust it enough to take action whenever it arrives. And there are people out there getting terminal diseases because they just don't have the information of what works, or they didn't trust it whenever it came around. You know, just try these things. Just try them, and you'll be able to know whether or not it works, instead of living your whole life going, well, that possibly couldn't work. You know, just try these things, and maybe it'll save your life. Getting terminal diseases because you don't know what works, that's unacceptable. So I hope that you got something out of this. If you did, go to my GoFundMe page and donate what you can, even if it's only $1. If you didn't, then I'm sorry for wasting your time, and you can just click off this page. You know, you can leave a mean comment down below or whatever you want to do. So if you didn't get anything out of it, I'm so sorry. But if you did get something out of it, go to my GoFundMe page. That'll be in the link below this YouTube video. If you're not there already, like, share, tweet this video to your fans or friends. Get the message out there any way that you can. My goal is to get this message out to 1 million people so that they can get the knowledge of what actually works. That's all I want. Just spread this knowledge around. It's unacceptable that people don't know this. And then go take action today. Get that appointment with your doctor going. Get their physician's permission. Make sure that you're in good enough health to make these major life changes. Don't wait any longer. Now is the time to start getting results. Thank you so much just for watching this video. I'm sorry I've taken up so much of your time. And you know, and thank you. Just thank you so much. God bless you.